Tim is a young man. He's a good man, but he's a little bit shy, a little bit crap with the ladies, and he's looking for a love, I guess. He's hoping, wishing for love, and then all of a sudden he hears this family secret, which is that he can travel back in time in his own life to fix mistakes that he's made, and it kind of opens up a world of possibilities. Well, when I first read the script, really all I did was really enjoy the script. It wasn't even to do with the character or anything. I just really loved what it had to say, and I laughed a lot. And then auditioning for it, obviously you have to take it more seriously. It's a little bit scary. I met Richard and he put me at ease and just said, you know, I was the first person to audition for it. I was the first person he heard say the lines out loud, so I got a real, you know, bonus that way. I got lucky. And then I did a couple auditions, and it was worrying, but really fun, because it's a fun script. I mean, I guess to a certain extent, apart from maybe one other director, with Richard I spent a lot of time with him before we started the movie. And so I got to know him as a person, and I got to understand why the script was so like him, and what we had to get out of the script to make it like Richard, I guess, you know. And so he's obviously incredibly funny. He's written some of the best comedies ever. He's very human and very gentle, and he's got an absolutely wicked streak in him as well. So all those things together made it a joy to be around, and he knows what he wants.
The idea behind the film came from a conversation with a friend where we said, how would you spend your perfect day? And weirdly, we decided we'd like a really normal day. We didn't want to win any awards or go on dates with any supermodels. We just liked our lives, but then often we were tense and worried. So I thought, how can I write a film that celebrates the idea that a normal day might be a perfect day? And so I sort of have created this huge hoopla of time travel to bring you back to the fact that if you could travel in time, you might just choose here and now. Look, the time travel, I try and use the time travel in the movie for jokes. That's one of my jobs, is to try and be funny. And so, like, there's a scene where the hero completely messes up with the parents-in-law. He fixes that. He doesn't do well his first night in bed with his girlfriend. He fixes that. So there are some time travel jokes, but I think what I'm trying to do with the time travel is just show that you can only fix things a bit. You can't really fix things completely. And then there are one or two classic time travel disasters where he falls in love and then loses the girl, so he has to meet her again and try and make her love him again. Well, we auditioned a long time for this role, and we were looking for particular qualities. I needed to find someone who was funny. Donal has done lots of sketch comedy back home and is funny. That's the key thing. But he also has a sweetness, a ordinariness, a normality, and yet an emotion. I needed someone who could be funny and yet also, you know, emotional and serious, because the movie goes through the whole spectrum. And he was the best person for the job, apart from the enormous orange beard that he was wearing at the time, because he was doing Anna Karenina. But once he shaved that off, he was the man. I hope that audiences will take away from the film on a serious level that maybe they should call their dad and mum and have a nice conversation, and that life can be lovely. And on a professional level, that they should never see any movies that don't have Rachel McAdams, Domhnall Gleeson or Bill Nighy in them.
So I play Charlotte, and she is Donal's character's initial love interest in the beginning of the film, and it's while he's figuring out the whole time travel thing, and he quickly discovers that time travel doesn't help you necessarily win over a girl if she doesn't like you. So it's it's an opportunity to have a bit of levity to the script, and it's very funny, and he makes a lot of adolescent mistakes, I suppose, and it's very funny and kind of slightly tragic, but all lighthearted. And then of course he finds Rachel McAdams' character, and then my character comes back in, and everyone's like, oh no, get with her, Rachel McAdams is way better, and then he's like goes with her, and they live happily ever after. So it's a very brief character. I'm just kind of in and out, but it was great. It was so fun to work on. It's so funny because before I moved to America, the English accent came to me really naturally, and American didn't at all, and it took me, you know, a good year and a half working with a dialect coach to get the American accent down pat. And then once I did, it was so hard to go back to the English accent, so I did struggle. I worked with a dialect coach all the time and tried to perfect it. He's just lovely to be around. He's lovely to be around on set, off set. He's just the same person. He doesn't get angry. He's so lovely, and he kind of lets you do your own thing. He kind of understands that he casts people who are right for the characters, and then they go ahead and do the character the way they think they should. And He kind of lets you do your own thing and steps in to make it funnier. He makes everyone a lot funnier because he's just so witty himself. It's a dream director to work with. Yeah. I'm so happy he got the role because he's perfect for it, but he's such a talented actor that this is going to be like a big launch for him. He's amazing. He's really great. And like you said, most of my scenes are with him, so I was really lucky I got to hang out with him all the time. And it's really nice working opposite someone who is so talented because it brings your acting up a level as well. So I was very honoured to be considered a part of the cast. And amongst the people I was working with, I was really lucky, and it wasn't intimidating. I mean, the thought of it was intimidating, but once I got on set, it wasn't intimidating because everyone's really nice and welcoming, and it was just fun. It was really fun. Personally, when I saw this film, like a few months ago, I got to see it in LA, and I walked out of there and I wanted to walk up to strangers on the street and hug them for smiling. And I called my mum and told her how much I loved her, and I talked to my friends and I was like, how you guys are just awesome, and I love, it just makes you appreciate all the little things in life, and you really walk out of the cinema with a whole new perspective. It puts everything in perspective, and all the little things you're like, why do I stress about that? It's not important. It has such a beautifully simple message, and it's inspiring and very heartfelt. I think people walk out of there quite optimistic. Yeah.
The character in the film is called Harry, and he's pretty grumpy. He's a writer, he's an alcoholic, he's a sort of anti-romantic figure, isn't he? In a romantic comedy, he's the one that gets to do bits of swearing, which was fun. Well, it was fun. To be honest, Richard Curtis is such a charming chap that he rather makes the whole... And Emma, his wife, are they married? Perhaps they're not married. Anyway, they've got many children together and they share their lives. And they make it like a sort of family event, and they're very generally rather generous and happy and sweet and loving to everyone. So it all felt like a long, ongoing summer party. It was a very, very happy job to be on. He's a sweetheart, darling. What can I say? He's just, I'm afraid, yeah, he does provoke most appalling lovey-dom in others. Why is that? Because he's just, because he makes you feel like you're marvellous. He does a lot of that. Directing by encouragement. Directing by constantly showering you in implausible praise. That's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is to go, don't do that, do that. Be faster, be better. Richard just goes, it's marvellous, marvellous, marvellous. You're brilliant, you're brilliant. And you become puffed up with pride and confidence. Maybe there's another way of doing it. Yeah, we've got all day. It's all marvellous. Makes it all seem, I don't know how he gets away with it. My feeling was this is what a marvellous part about my part, and well, I thought this feels like a Richard Curtis comedy. It feels like a sort of greatest hits of Richard Curtis comedy, and then what happens at the end is very touching and moving, and had a real emotional punch when I first read it, which I think it must do in the finished film.
There's so much passion in it because it's his material, and I've always loved his films, so it just seemed like such a great opportunity, and I just love the sentiment behind it, to sort of live each day, and even if you could go back and fix it, would you? So I was really drawn to that. I liked Mary. I thought she was kind of quirky and shy, but not at all at the same time. And so yeah, there was lots of things, and a great ensemble cast. I think he just puts together the best ensemble group. So yeah, there's really lots to be drawn to. I guess I'd like people to, feel like they want to go give everybody they know a big hug and, tell them how much they love them, which, sounds a bit sappy, but I think, there's just a real simplicity to that, and I think that rings really true in this film, and I think it's quite an emotional piece, so there'll probably be some tears, which is never really a bad thing. So yeah, I don't know, I hope people enjoy it too. I just hope they can have a laugh as well. I think Richard's films are so great that way. You get a little bit of everything.
I play Dad. It's a rather funky family who live on the top of a cliff, and my character has no name, so I broke a rule. You never play a character that hasn't got a name. But I think he has got a name in the end. Anyway, I'm Dad. I'm married to Lindsay Duncan, which is very, very pleasant. And my son is played by Donald Gleeson, and he falls in love with Rachel McAdams, the celebrated Canadian actress. And it's a very, hopefully, funny and nice movie. Apart from being, a romantic comedy and centering on, Donald Gleeson, who plays my son, and Rachel McAdams and their romantic affair, it also concentrates to a large degree on the relationship between fathers and sons, or rather, the father I play and my son. What it has to say about it, I suppose, is that, these are the important things in your life, and these are the things, and don't miss it. It's a simple thing. I mean, everybody's trying to do that, but it's very difficult in the world to, often the means by which you support everything steals it from you, and you suddenly look around and they're asking for the car keys, and it's kind of done. So the idea is that you treasure those things which are important, which sometimes the world tries to persuade you away from, and things like the relationship with your children. Absolutely exemplary, absolutely marvelous. He needs no reference from me. Everybody knows that he's a marvelous actor, and he was very easy. He operates without fuss, and we had a laugh. And we eased into those scenes, some of which are quite tricky if you look at them on paper. They're very emotional scenes, and it's very easy and good with him. I very much enjoyed it. Well, this one was particularly great. I know everybody always says it, but it was really marvelous. I tell you what really blew me away was Cornwall. I hadn't been there since I was a young man, and it was a beautiful summer like this one. And it was and we were in this fabulous house overlooking a kind of almost perfect beach in a bay. And it was overwhelmingly beautiful. It was really, it kind of really got to me. And a great collection of people, lots of young actors who'd never been in a movie before, maybe been on television and stuff, and young Josh Maguire, who I see down there, who's a terrifically talented young man, and Donald Gleeson playing my son. It was a really nice, and married to Lindsay Duncan. It was a very, very nice place to be, and Richard keeps a very cool, professional but very relaxed atmosphere, and it's a great place to be in terms of being on a film. Because he's a terrific man, I admire him in every way. He's very cool company. He is a great director. He can actually help, and he writes cool scripts with great parts for me. So apart from that, Well, I think audiences will hopefully take away from this film the idea that the celebrations can already begin. You don't have to strive for, you don't have to invent holes in your life and to try and, they'll take away. The idea is, everyone who's seen it so far, the deal was when you were a kid, you went to the cinema, you paid some money, and when you came out, you felt a whole lot better. That seems to be the experience of this film so far. You just feel a bit better, and a whole lot better, and people, it urges you to treasure the simple things in your life.